Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, the Ranting Monkey, and I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. I actually know the day today, Jack. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Not too bad. You know what I realized the other day?
We're awesome.
Well, I knew that.
Oh,
I've known that for a long time. No, I realized that I have a bad habit of addressing you. I know that might sound weird, but I'll be like, you know what I was thinking, Jack? And when you're not here, that becomes very awkward. Anyhow, so how you been, man?
I've been all right. I had a couple of accidental naps.
Oh, naps are good.
Yeah, those unexpected old man naps are new, and I do like them, but they get a bit annoying sometimes. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Oh, yeah. Especially considering mine can just, there's no time frame on them.
Yeah.
When I was a younger man, naps were, even if I didn't want them to end at 3 hours, I was like done at about 3 hours tops. Now I can sleep till tomorrow and be like, well, I guess it's bedtime now.
Yeah, well, that's what I did. It was like 6 p.m. and I was like, I'm kind of tired for some reason. I'm going to take a little nap. I just got up like an hour ago.
Good morning, Nuts. How you doing, sweetheart?
Hey, Nuts.
Just a reminder to everybody in the audience, and I realize it's a little annoying sometimes. You jump into the show, you're ready to go, and I'm not here yet, and you're like, when's he going to start? This show starts at the same time every day, whenever the hell I'm ready. And sometimes even before I'm ready. That's why you have to hear me take my medicine sometimes. It's not done on purpose. And I know some shows, they do that music thing, Jack. See, I just did it again. I have a compulsion to say your name, Jack. That time it was on purpose.
Because I'm always here bothering you.
No, but they'll do, they'll play music beforehand. For instance, I was watching Crowder's show tonight, but I was watching the replay. And he's got like 30 minutes of fucking music before the stream actually starts.
Shit.
And I'm like, I get why people do that. They do it for their audience so they have something to listen to. But then when the replay pops up, anybody who's, there to just watch has to figure out when the fuck you actually started.
Yeah.
Where here, I know it's just quiet and you have to talk to each other. And you guys are nice. You talk amongst yourselves, and that's great. There's no music. And when I start, it starts. That way when people watch it later, they're not sitting there waiting behind some crappy music that I decided was good.
Right? Well, I've heard so many streamers bitch about getting struck for the music before their stream too.
Oh, so sure.
It's a massive gamble to do that.
That's annoying as hell. Why make people wait so long? I don't know. The way I do it, guys, I set up the stream when I'm ready to. Well, I won't say when I'm ready to go, but when I'm ready to start getting ready for the stream. I'm getting ready for the stream unless something weird happens, like I get distracted by a video. Usually only takes 10 minutes tops, So it's a 10-minute window for people to know they can come hang out and watch the show. I try to get ready and go as soon as possible. Again, that's why you guys have to hear me swallow pills from time to time. But oh God. I find that annoying as fuck is when I go to watch a stream like, shit, and I got to figure out when they actually started. So that's why I do it the way I do. Plus, it starts whenever the hell I want it to start. Whenever the hell Monkey's finally ready. You get a little glimpse of Lady Monkey's world. Like, when is Frank going to be ready? Whenever the hell I'm ready, that's when. You can't rush Monkey.
Well, you can't rush perfection is what my mom always said. And then she'd tell me to hurry up. Right.
I just always figured my mom's like, there's no way he's going to be perfect. Why did that? I didn't mean to click that. Sorry. And hi, Rotten Corpse. Random message of the day on the screen there, Jack.
Oh, yeah. James asked, did you eat? Take your meds? Tell Susan how great your PP is.
I have not discussed my wiener with Miss Wojcicki yet. We'll get to that. I was correct the other day, though, guys. Remember I told you guys because the shooting out there in Arizona happened. And I was like, as soon as it came up, I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna get in trouble for this one. Which is okay. I don't mind. It wasn't. I find YouTube's rules on that dumb as fuck anyway. Why can't I? I wasn't joking about it or anything. I just reported the news that came up. But that moved me into the bad boy column. You can't talk about that. Like, fuck off. You monetize CNN talking about it. Suck my dick.
Yeah, they're not really news.
No, they're really not. They just read the Washington Post the same as I do.
Right? They should shamelessly be reading the newspaper, like holding it physically.
Yeah.
And just reading it, because that's about all they do, unless Don Lemon's talking about Orange Man bad.
I saw Brian Stelter was given some news outlet shit today. I'm like, motherfucker, you reported on why Trump has so many typos in his tweets. Are you really wanting to talk about anybody and their news ability?
Yeah, that's gross.
Anyhow. We'll get to tonight's topic in a little bit, which is shamelessly stolen from Shoe on Head's tweets again. At this point, she should get a partial writing credit on my show because I just steal them from her.
Whatever. She's probably stealing them from someone else.
Well, here's the thing. She's up at around the same. That's why she's often in the audience. She's mentioned this before. It's because she has a weird schedule. And I appreciate her weird schedule, Jack, because around probably 1 a.m., Twitter just kind of stops. At least the people I follow, you know. Everybody goes to bed like they got real lives and shit.
Weirdos.
Yeah, so I appreciate people who are still out there tweeting in the middle of the night, giving me something else to think about or look at, you know? So appreciate it, Shu. Really do. We'll get to that in a few minutes. There was something else I wanted to talk about, Jack, and you know what? I'm going to do my best not to be a dickhead.
What's that like?
We'll find out. Miles Kinslow, thank you so much. Hey, Monkey, now that Joe Rogan is probably leaving YouTube, who do you think is going to take over as top dog? Tim Pool gets 10K to 14K per stream. Maybe him? No. No. I don't know who will, but Pool. No. I think Ruben has a better chance than Pool.
I agree with that just because I don't particularly like Tim Pool because of all the weird lip smack noises he makes.
Well, for me, it's not that. We've discussed this before. I'm not trying to shit on the guy, but when he goes live, he has a very hard time expressing himself without repeating literally the same fucking words over and over and over again.
Yeah, he absolutely needs to script his videos, but I don't know if he freeforms it just to fill the 10 minutes.
That could be it. But also somebody like Ruben. Ruben has started to make quite the name for himself. He started having like top tier celebrity guests on instead of it being Ben Shapiro. Sorry, that's my desk. I'm moving my keyboard out of my damn way. He's had like Dennis Miller was on the other day, and I know he's a has-been. Whatever, he's still better than anybody I've seen on Pool. You know. I think people really like the interview style shows. That seems to be the ones that they like when it comes to podcasting and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I was doxxed, Jack, the other day.
Yep.
And the asshole who did it keeps insisting it was my fault.
Nope.
Keeps insisting it was my fault. One, because the information was out there. And two, because I dared him.
Yeah, that's not a reason to do that.
Thank you.
Because you can do something doesn't mean you should.
Just because somebody dares you doesn't mean you should. There's a whole lot of things that people will dare you to do you probably shouldn't do.
Yeah, jumping off of bridges, playing Russian roulette, etc.
Yeah. I just want to reiterate something that I said on the show tonight. You are responsible for your behavior. Everywhere along the way. And this is not just directly in relation to this incident. Although, seriously, man, grow the fuck up. You did it. you are responsible for your behavior. You make your choices. Whether you're blaming it on a bad economy or you're blaming it on your wife cheated on you or whatever your excuse is, you are responsible for you. No one else is. You make your choices. No one else does. Stop being a bunch of goddamn petulant children and blaming little Tommy down the street when it was your dumb ass who did stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of that today, especially. I've seen a lot of people doing that with Keemstar versus Ethan. Because H3 and Keemstar have gotten into a sponsorship war, Jack. They keep going after each other's sponsors. It started with Ethan doing it. And then Keem, as far as I know, and I've looked, so maybe I'm wrong, Keem has not actually told anybody to go after sponsors. He specifically said not to go after sponsors. And I saw a really weird response to that. But so I should be more clear here. Ethan and Keemstar's fans are having a sponsorship war. But somebody suggests going after one of Ethan's sponsors. I forget which one it was. And Keemstar specifically came out and said, please don't do that. And Jeremy from the Quartering, he's like, he doesn't mean that. That's him actually saying, go do it. Like, I'm sorry, what? But then a weird thing happened, Jack. So, okay, this is like less than an hour later. Ethan is like, well, I didn't tell anybody to go after him. I don't believe in this sponsorship war kind of crap. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And Jeremy says to Ethan, well, then go into your Discord and tell these people to stop doing it. And I'm like, wait. Keemstar telling somebody to stop doing it is just covering his ass. But Ethan should do it because that would be... I'm confused.
Well, Jeremy doesn't like Keemstar, obviously. So when he does it, it's a dog whistle.
Sure.
But when angelic Ethan does it, then it's just the word from on high, from sweet, sweet Moses.
And I guess that's a little bit fair. I'll check those. Remind me to check those stories in chat in a little bit.
Okay.
Because I will forget. You know me. And I just clicked on the thing to see what they were, and now it's not lit up to let me know there's any there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. At one point, he actually said, Jeremy actually said that Keemstar started this war. And I went, whoa, wait a minute. Whether you believe him that he doesn't, he's not encouraging it or anything, he obviously didn't start it. Ethan obviously started it. And Jeremy said, you know what, that's fair. Which was, I was actually surprised. Like, damn, well done. Way to own your shit. Because you're right. Let's say he has brushed or fanned the flames or something like that, which is fine. But then immediately goes into this other one where with Keem going, guys, please don't do this. And then, like, that's disingenuous. How do you know that's disingenuous? Look, Keemstar's a jackass. My specific thing on Twitter that I said, Jack, and I've heard this before. I stole it from somebody else, but I thought it was funny. Trusting Keemstar is like trusting a Taco Bell fart.
Yeah.
That's just true.
Yeah. That may not be a fart. That's probably going to shit your pants.
But at this point, I feel trusting Ethan is the same.
Oh, yeah.
This is the shithead right now is still insisting he was not going after Keemstar sponsorships. Like, what?
And he totally did. I don't know how he can deny that with any like stretch of credibility whatsoever.
Either way, what these two idiots are doing is going to hurt the entirety of the YouTube community. It's the first time I'm happy I don't have sponsors, Jack.
Yeah. Well, people struggled so hard to get sponsorships on YouTube. They fought tooth and nail to get that. And now these two idiots are going to destroy that entirely because of their petty disagreements with each other. It's really, really annoying and frustrating for creators to see two of the bigger creators on this platform going after each other like slap fighting children. And honestly, I have to say, I think from what I've seen, Keemstar is being a much more the adult in the room about this, which is pretty horrifying. But
yeah, exactly. I agree with you. Everything you just said there. This is going to lead to Adpocalypse 4, except for it's going to be the sponsorship wars.
Yeah, this will be a sponsor apocalypse.
Yeah.
No, there's really no good way to turn that into a phraseology.
These two idiots are gonna bring the press down on YouTube again. Like, oh, look at the horrible things people say on YouTube.
Yeah. And how does that look from the sponsor's position? Like, oh my God, we're in the middle of a slap fight between two people that make pretty good money, and we wanted them to sponsor us, to be our representatives, to give ads to their customers. They're going to be gun shy about sponsoring anybody. I mean, granted, these two are fairly controversial figures within the community, but still, you're risking everyone else's potential income because you two don't like each other. Now, Keemstar did say don't go after Ethan's sponsors, but we don't know if that was won't someone rid me of this meddlesome priest stuff.
Sure.
So,
and you know what? That's fair, but why would you tell Ethan to go tell people to stop? Wouldn't that be the same thing?
Yeah. I think Jeremy's being kind of dumb here.
Well, Jeremy also, he does have a grudge against Keemstar. These two have a history. But Jesus Christ, man, just let it go, fellas. Ethan lost fucking Old Spice, man.
That sucks. Well,
I guarantee you they were giving him big money.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like Ethan. I think he's a giant douchebag and a hypocrite.
Oh, me too.
And of course he does look like a disheveled homeless person all the time. I still say he looks like a gypsy that will abduct children wearing like scarves. But it sucks that he lost that, because Old Spice sponsoring a YouTuber is a big deal. Now are they going to go after and pursue other YouTubers to sponsor their stuff? Probably not. So I'm more concerned about everybody out not involved with this than I am with the two egos that are clashing with each other. But Ethan did kind of bring this on himself by going after and targeting Keemstar. So he's got to take some responsibility for that too. You have to remember, if somebody's sponsoring you, you're representing them.
Yeah, and I still say Ethan looks like he smells like garbage, so maybe Old Spice was actually a really good thing for him.
Yeah,
just go maybe fresh and pour a bunch of cologne on you so you don't stink as bad.
Yeah, he'll be like the Middle Eastern dudes I used to run into at the market, because they would smell like they just took a bath in Old Spice because water was too expensive.
P-Dog Knight says Vegan Gains is back. Yeah, I saw he wants to debate Jeremy from the quartering.
Wow, he probably wants to eat him.
Jeremy said he'd do it for $3,500 because Vegan Gains offered to pay him for his time. $3,500 for an hour. So he's taking the Onision route. Just say no. And you know what? He said something to Vegan Gains, and you guys have heard me talk both about Vegan Gains, and many of you saw my debate with Vegan Gains. Jeremy said that he wasn't gonna argue with Vegan Gains because this is gonna lead to getting into a community that like doxes people and gets their videos flagged. I will say this about the vegans, especially the ones that I can directly attribute to my discussion with Vegan Gains. The only thing they ever did was talk shit. Nobody tried to shut me down. Nobody doxed me. All they did was talk shit.
Well, doing all that other stuff requires a lot more energy, and they don't have enough protein in their life.
I just think it's a little unfair to characterize Vegan Gains' audience that way. And maybe something's happened in the 2 years, 3 years, whatever it's been since then. But I talked to him. We had a rollicking good time for a couple of hours. And just jump in there and do it. Have some fun.
Yeah,
or don't. Or just say no.
They're more just passionate about their not eating deliciousness. So I get that. But you're right. I've never seen them go after sponsorships or dox anyone or anything like that. They're just annoying about their righteousness.
Mm-hmm. To this day, somebody will come into a video or a stream now and then and go, "Vegan Gains beat you in the debate." Like, go away now. Way to be original. Yeah, I think Richard's a fucking lunatic. But here's the thing. If you're not going to debate somebody, just say no and move on with your life. It's that easy. No and move on with your life. Don't sit there and engage in it and keep just, pestering and going. I don't know why people keep wanting to have a debate with me, because you keep arguing with them. You keep feeding the trolls, man. I don't know why people, because you keep feeding the trolls. Just ignore them. And it's amazing how quickly they go away. Now, I'm not going to be a hypocrite here and say I don't feed the trolls, Jack. I enjoy feeding the trolls. But if you're trying to get them to go away, don't feed them.
Yeah.
Just a little helpful advice from an old monkey on the internet. I'm going to talk about the subject of tonight, the titular article, as it were.
Uh-oh.
The U.S. birth rate is at its lowest in 35 years, Jack.
Okay.
There's an article from Jezebel, and I haven't read it yet, but I did read Shoe on Head's tweet about it. And in her opinion, and we can get to this a little bit later, but in her opinion, it's because having a baby is really expensive, like $35,000 to have a baby. That's what the hospital bill will be. And the other reason is because people have to work like sometimes more than one job. Basically the Bernie Sanders line applied to low birth rates.
Yeah. I mean, that might be true for some people, but I think there's plenty of other reasons. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun. Go ahead.
Well, luckily this is a short article, so let's just see what Jezebel has to say about it. Jezebel, don't forget, feminist shit rag. Is that a good way to put it? Yeah, feminist shit rag. The birth rate across the U.S. fell to its lowest point in 35 years last year, and experts think that the coronavirus pandemic may cause it to fall even more. What? People don't want to bring a child into the world on the brink of economic collapse in a country governed by a pickled ham? What?
I think they misspelled Orange Man bad.
You don't say. The new statistics were released by the CDC, and though okay, back up. Sorry, this just hit me. These are the numbers for last year. There's a guess that maybe numbers for this year will fall, but last year the numbers fell.
Oh, I think we'll see a big spike in about 9 months.
Weren't we in an economic boom?
Yes, that's a hate fact.
Coronavirus didn't hit the U.S. till January of this year. All right. The new statistics were released by the CDC, and though considered preliminary, they're based on a review of more than 99% of birth certificates issued last year. Quote, this unpredictable environment and anxiety about the future is going to make women think twice about having children, Dr. Denise Jamieson, chair of obstetrics and gynecology at Emory University, told the AP. No shit. Turns out women aren't super into the idea of having kids they'd have to struggle to afford. Quote, go ahead.
I know lots of irresponsible women.
We'll get to that. This is a quote from, I'm guessing, the AP that they are basing their article on. Quote, the economy is a factor, but not because of short-term cycles in hiring. Many jobs are low-paying and unstable. Goddamn. And that, coupled with high rents and other factors, have caused women and couples to be much more cautious about having kids, said Dr. John Santelli, a Columbia University professor of population and family health. Back to her article. Darkly, scientists are divided on whether or not the trend will continue as coronavirus stretches on. Not necessarily because everyone is going to be happily copulating in their quarantine nest, but because access to birth control and abortion has become more difficult.
What?
Mostly, however, the debate isn't whether birth rates will go down. It's whether they'll ever go back up. That's the end of the article. And thank God, because it's some stupid shit. All right, well, let's dive in there, Jack. Let's start with your point. To this point that people aren't having babies because it's too expensive. It's too expensive to raise them. Not the hospital part. We'll get to that in a little bit. It's too expensive. Some people are having to work 2 jobs. Jack.
Holy shit, people taking responsibility for their lives? What?
Well, here's the thing. At least last year. We can't look at this year. We don't have the numbers for it. And 2, we have coronavirus, so it's not exactly a fair comparison or a fair way to look at the universe and go, this is a trend. No, it's not. This is an anomaly by definition. So going back to last year, the economy is booming. The highest growth in wages is coming from the bottom of the wage scale. The number of people who actually have to work 2 jobs is around the lowest it's ever been when it comes to living wage. They love that word, living wage. Thank you, X-Bubba Hotep. What are the abortion rates? I don't know. I bet they're going to be pretty low this year. But that's a good time to remind everybody, we're brought to you by you. If you enjoy the show, hit the like button, hit the share button, and if you could, toss a couple of pesos at either me or Jack. Not okay, more than a couple, because isn't a peso like worth a quarter of a penny?
Something like that.
Yeah, so like 4 pesos. Jack, most of the people I know who get pregnant or get somebody pregnant, their financial situation isn't on their mind at the time that it happens. They're either horny and irresponsible, or they're horny and like, I don't care, you know. And
Yeah.
and you can say I don't care without being irresponsible. You can be in a financially okay place and be like, I don't care if we get pregnant. But I mean, they just don't care. They're irresponsible or they don't care. I don't know many of them who are going, we got to crunch the numbers and see whether or not I can impregnate you today. Sorry, I didn't get overtime last week. Maybe next month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's oh shit, baby's on the way. Now we have to deal. And I have a very hard time believing that people who put themselves into fucking ridiculous debt to get a degree that is worth less than Mexican money are all that financially savvy.
Yeah. Well, let's face it. Most people these days aren't very good with money.
And you know what? To be fair, that's all days. I mean, it has gotten worse. Our generation, Jack, was fucking horrible with it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm terrible with money still. I try very hard to manage my money. I had to learn a lot of new skills to manage money over the years. And it's hard mostly because I don't have a job. But this younger generation, they didn't have any like home economics classes for the most part. So I think they're even more at a disadvantage because they didn't get that kind of training. And they haven't been allowed to be adults.
Yeah, I mean, plus I grew up hearing stories of families, you know, with 4, 5, 6 kids where dad was working 2, sometimes 3 jobs to make ends meet.
Yeah.
So it's not like having to work a second job is new.
No, people putting in overtime, picking up extra shifts. That's as old as time itself, you know. Real quick on the Streamlabs. Thank you, Evolved Potato. But if it was a Republican economic boom, so it only affected the rich somehow, so everyone else was dirt poor at the beginning of time, which was when Trump was in charge because nothing happened before Trump.
Again, see, but this is why I was bringing up the numbers, because the Democrats really got egg on their face, because they've been repeating this line all through the election, but the Trump boom only helped the super rich, and I think it was the second debate, maybe it was the third, that line got repeated a bunch, and it was the next day that the numbers came out with the wage growth. and wage growth was highest for the lowest earning people. The Trump boom was literally best for poor people. That doesn't mean they're not poor anymore. But I mean, the idea that Trump's economy has screwed poor people, that just doesn't hold up to the numbers.
No,
it doesn't.
What frustrates me is that there's this notion out there, especially among the Bernie supporters, that you can eliminate poverty. You can't. There will always be poor people. There will always be people that are bad with money or easily taken advantage of or fall on hard times. It's just going to happen.
Or live in socialist countries.
Yes. Even when everyone is poor, that just means everybody's poor.
But look how rich they are.
Yeah, like just because everybody's on the same level doesn't mean they're doing well. So
when everybody's poor, everybody's rich, Jack. That's why it's income inequality that they go after. So we can all be on the same level playing field of not being able to afford bread. At least in the bread lines, you get the bread. I can't believe that motherfucker said that out loud. I sincerely.
I can, because he's I think he's ignorant as to what those bread lines are actually for. He buys into the propaganda.
That's amazing what a super rich guy from America thinks about bread lines that he's read about. Never had to live through.
That's something else that really bugs me is we have an American definition of what poverty is. Our poor people here are richer than a lot of wealthy people in other countries.
Oh, yeah, they are.
You go over to Thailand and you expect to see a TV in everybody's house and a car in their driveway. It's not going to happen. You go over to Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Indonesia, Myanmar, most Middle Eastern countries, anywhere in Africa, you're going to have a significantly different idea of what poverty really is. And we have the American idea that some dude in a trailer park is dirt poor. No, he's fucking rich compared to about 80% of the world. So,
and I need to point this out. We're not saying that we want him to be as poor as somebody in, say, Somalia.
No, of course not. But
realize how good you have it.
Yeah. You have access to a lot of very, very nice things in this country just by being here. Any Western culture, really. You have access to medical, even though if you can't afford it and you're going to be in debt the rest of your life, you still have access to it. They can't turn you down because you're poor in the U.S. You can walk into a hospital and they will treat you.
Of all potato, that is a good way of saying it. They're first world poor, which is third world rich. Yes.
Absolutely. That's an awesome way to say it.
Let's address the other thing about the $35,000 to have a baby. I don't know anybody who's actually had to pay a $35,000 bill for having a baby. Most people have insurance. The poorest people, it's covered entirely by whatever your state Medicaid is, because we pay for people to have babies. Most other people, whatever their insurance is pays for it. And I know, but 10 million people, it's amazing 10 million people don't have insurance when Barack Obama made it mandatory to have insurance. And I realize that the individual mandate has been removed. It's being challenged in court right now. But not having the individual mandate didn't mean you couldn't get insurance anymore. It meant you didn't have to. You know what I mean, Jack? Yeah. They make it sound like, no, whether these people just couldn't afford it anymore. No, they made a choice. They were affording it just a little bit ago when the economy wasn't doing as well as it is. Well, I can't say is. As it was in 2019.
Yeah.
They afforded it just fine.
Well, in Obamacare, a lot of times, I think Midnight just pointed that out in chat. It was cheaper just to pay the fine than it was to get the program because it was too fucking expensive.
Yeah, the plan was like $2,000 for the year, or the fine $2,000 for the year, versus like the plans, which could run several $1,000s a year.
Yeah,
I don't know the exact numbers.
If you're living on minimum wage and you've got a family, that's not feasible at all.
Right. But there were a lot of them, even with that, if you were in the lower income brackets, you could get subsidies for it.
Yeah, you could get like Medicaid and other programs as well that would compensate for it. But I don't know. I think they play a lot of games with how they interpret that 35 grand. That's what the hospital wants. That's not necessarily what you're getting out of pocket.
Right.
So, yeah, I think there's probably a few people that have had to pay that are in some weird financial bracket or something. But I think that's a lot more rare than what they're actually telling us.
Well, it's not what people are paying. It's just not. Yes, you can point to these things. My surgery was I want to say it was upwards of $50,000. I did not pay $50,000 for my surgery, Jack. My insurance company got with them and they negotiated a price. My insurance company cut them a fat check and I cut them a smaller fat check.
Yeah.
I think my surgery ended up costing me like $5,000, something like that. Which is still expensive.
Yeah, but that's a lot better than the like 100
it's not
grand.
$50,000.
Yeah. You know what? They would have charged you more if there was other things, like that aspirin for $35.
Yeah. And are medical costs inflated? Yes. Is there a reason for it? Yeah, because that stuff's expensive. They have to find ways to pay for, giving all that free illegal healthcare.
Yeah, the illegals are raising prices, whether anyone wants to admit that or not. And tort reform needs to be done because a lot of frivolous lawsuits are what drives up the cost of doctors' insurance. And you're paying a lot of that on the back end because they raise their prices to compensate for that. So because they get sued all the time.
They do. And $50,000 might not sound like a lot until it's coming out of the hospital's budget,
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So, I mean, there's reasons for it, and tort reform would be a great part. I can't put a price on a limb or a life, Jack, but I feel like there's times where I could go, that's excessive. That's a bit excessive.
Yeah. One of my buddies, his brother had a blood clot, and they flew out with the helicopter to pick him up, and they charged him $35,000 for the fuel alone.
Oh, wow.
To which he, it was like 34 grand and some change or something. But he's a lawyer, so he's like, let's go to court. And they dropped that price to $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing how the price of fuel suddenly dropped.
I'm not saying that it's cheap. But once again, I've never known anyone, literally anyone, who is like, I want to have a baby, but we can't right now because that might cost us $35,000 at the hospital. Now, maybe I'm not saying nobody's like that. I am saying that I would bet money that the vast majority of people aren't like that. And by vast, I mean the overwhelmingly vast majority.
Yeah.
Like in the 90% range.
I mean, look at some of these. Here's where we get in trouble. The welfare queens.
Oh, yeah.
Just pop out kids because they know the bills will be covered and they'll get a bunch of free money.
How do you feel about that, Jack? Let's talk about that for a minute because I got into a lot of trouble for this one.
I know. We always get in trouble for this.
When a woman who's already getting welfare, getting food stamps and housing assistance, that kind of stuff, has another baby, her benefits go up.
Oh yeah, significantly.
I think that's wrong.
Absolutely.
And here's why. If I'm working a job and I have a baby, my boss doesn't go, well, shit, now I have to pay you more. I have to make it on what I was already making because it's not my boss's responsibility what I did with my dick. Unless he's being sued for ignoring sexual harassment. But otherwise, it's not his responsibility. And I've actually seen people go so far as to argue that if you do have a baby, you should get a raise at work. And I'm like, no, this goes back to personal choices, Jack. You made that choice. And if I'm going to be, damn, my screen just went dark because that's why I pulled out my mouse. I missed it. Real quick over on the Streamlabs. Thank you, Evolved Potato. One of the best ways I've heard to reduce medical costs was knowing around what you would pay before you got the treatment. So for a lot of things, you could shop around for the best price like everything else. I've heard about that. I'm not sure how good that is.
Yeah, that would definitely be by region and what country you live in. Like, we don't know the prices here. That's all made up later.
There's a couple of doctors who've started doing this. Like if you come in, they actually have a board up very much like you'd see at a McDonald's. You know, when you go in, a basic lab draw is $20. Well, if you don't have $20, where are you going to go? You know what? You think I might have malaria, but you know what? That $20 is a little too much. You're still going to pay the $20. I think what it comes down to in those situations is not so much that, hey, people get to see what the prices are. It's that you're going to an independent doctor who's not gouging you or your insurance company. Because most of these guys also have gone to, these guys are like, I'm not taking insurance. It's cash only.
Yeah.
And so they don't have to deal with any of that shit. They don't have to hire a special assistant who deals with just the insurance companies, you know?
Yeah.
So you're not paying hospital prices. You're paying this guy's like, you know, if I make $200 an hour off this stuff, I'm pretty good, you know? Well, I think that has more to do with it than the fact that it is just them putting it up there. I think it's the circumstances around it.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a lot more transparency in cost. But I want to see value menus at the doctor.
Yeah, sure.
That'll be real fun at Planned Parenthood.
Oh, right. You could opt for the hanger.
Yeah.
Instead of the supersized vacuum.
Would you like to add the mini vac on or the dustbuster?
Can we interest you in this? I had an abortion pin. But going back to what we were talking about, it all comes down to your personal responsibilities. If you make a choice, you should be the one living with that choice. If your boss wants to give you a raise because you had a child, I would be worried that he knocked up my wife. Be like, what is this, fucking child support? Because that makes no sense. But for some reason, and I kind of get why we do it with welfare, Jack, because it is a low amount of money, so you don't want to be like, well, I guess you got to starve with another kid kind of thing. But you made a choice.
Yeah, it's a consequence, and people need to realize that there are consequences for your actions. The world does not owe you life. You are not entitled to take from other people to survive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they want to help you, that's one thing. That's what charity used to be for. And now welfare has replaced that, where they just write you a check, and that's bullshit. We should not be encouraging people that are mooching off of society to continue to mooch off of society. It's not constructive to a healthy society. You get people that are effectively slaves to the government then, and they're completely dependent on the government, and they will often continue to do that for generations. When I was working with children's services, we'd see it all the time. It was disgusting, some of the stuff that we saw. You'd have parents in the lobby saying, well, you should bring your kid over because my daughter, she's about that age. And they'd be planning to get one kid pregnant so that the mom could get more money off of the welfare, because she would technically have custody of that kid because her daughter's a minor.
Oh, yeah. That's disgusting.
Yeah, but you'd see stuff like that all the time. And they'd talk about how they could scam the system, about how to abuse programs like SNAP, where your EBT cards and food stamps, because they got rid of the paper money because too many people were abusing that. So now they have the credit card where you can abuse it.
Yeah, because you used to be able to sell the paper money.
Yeah.
I think the going rate when they got rid of it in Michigan was something like 75 cents on the dollar.
Wow.
Yeah. But you couldn't buy other things with it. So, hey, you know what? I'll take 25% less. I'm a woman after all. Might as well get that
That's probably
marked
where that
down.
number comes from.
But back to the other point. I don't think anybody's not having sex because of or not having babies because of the cost. I think it comes down to all kinds of other things, several different things that all kind of come together. One, I think men are afraid of women.
Oh, absolutely. Do you want to get me too? Because I don't.
Yeah.
And that could be decades later, apparently. They could just sit on that accusation for 30 years and then accuse you later and try and collect money. Not to mention, have you seen feminists? They are not exactly helpful to the cause of women as far as image goes. If that's what you're seeing in media and on TV is these bitchy, pushy women, do you really want to deal with that? No, the hassle's there. And you know what else I have access to? Porn.
Yeah.
So I don't really need a relationship. I got video games and porn.
You have the threat of Me Too, but you also have the threat of divorce.
Oh yeah, they're gonna take all your shit because men get screwed in divorces.
They're gonna take half your shit, they're gonna take your kid, and you're gonna have to pay them until that kid's at least 18.
Yep. And they're gonna take half your pension and retirement too.
Yeah, it's not a good system right now. I think that has a lot more to do with it because that has become a much more known thing, a known quantity. Where, I mean, the internet is helpful in that because helping guys go like, look, be careful, you're going to get screwed.
Yeah.
The system's fucked up. And instead of fixing the system, instead we're like, those are just misogynists. Like, are they really? Because it seems to me they have a point. What else do we have? We have, we have free porn. What do you think of that argument, Jack? That some guys are just not going out there and trying to get the puss because they have access to porn 24/7.
Well, I think it's more than just that. I think the contributing factor of feminism is definitely part of that equation because you get discouraged. So why go through all that hassle and money? Let's face it, some women, I've gone on dates with them myself. They just want to hang out with you for the free food and free entertainment, and then they'll tell you to fuck off.
Yeah.
Women have become very, very difficult to date. They're very demanding. They expect to be treated like a princess, and they want you to have a lot of money and pay for everything. But at the same time, they get to do whatever they want. So you're just an ATM card after a while. And that's how you start to feel. So when you actually do meet a nice woman who's not nuts, good luck with that because she's got the stigma of all these other bitches that you've had to deal with. And they are way more now than there ever used to be.
Nuts, don't get upset. Calm down. Relax. We're not just bashing women here. Unfortunately, this is from a male perspective. It's what we have. If you ladies in chat want to tell us things that you're afraid about with dealing with men, that's cool. I'm happy to hear it. But these are things that I know from talking to other men. This is stuff that bothers them. This is stuff they're worried about. These are things that they're like, I don't want to deal with this shit. The biggest one that I hear is definitely the divorce thing. That is the biggest one I hear. I don't want to end up divorced, her getting half my shit, and me never being able to see my kid.
Yeah. Well, it happens a lot, too. I know a lot of guys have been screwed like that.
The funny part is, when they say that, I very rarely hear them bring up child support. That's the funny part. They get half my stuff and my kid. The child support, which they're going to be paying for however many years are left until that kid turns 18, is rarely said with it. Thank you, Gamer Valine. I now feel dirty, have more money. Thank you so very much. How dirty do we have to make you feel to get more money? I'll do my best. This is another one, and maybe Nuts will like us a little more for this one. how much of it is programs just like this warning guys to be careful?
I think there's a difference between being careful and being a recluse. Because the MGTOW movement's really, I think, affected some men too. And it's hard to not become bitter over time with when you have had enough negative exposure to bad women, and at some point you just say, I'm done. So it's really difficult to overcome that because not all women are like that, but enough of them are nowadays that perception makes you gun shy. You get a little nervous after enough times getting burned and having this attitude. It's a tough call, man.
Gamer Vleen, thank you so much. Dirty like every other ATM. Oh, you've been fingered a lot? Somebody's been giving her shit, and she's making jokes about it. So I had to make a joke there. She's not a dirty whore, you guys. Just throwing that out there. I had to say that just because I made a dirty joke about her. And she's a nice girl. She's a sweetheart. And yes, James, Nuts has a standing invitation on this show anytime she wants. She can come yell at me in person if she would like. But I'm sorry, this is a truth that men have to deal with. And is it as widespread as it may seem? That's what I mean by how much of it is our fault, Jack. Shows like this, because I still have to believe, it's just in me, that love is out there, that you can find what I found with Lady Monkey. I have to believe that kind of stuff is still out there. However, I also know a whole bunch of guys who've been absolutely screwed over. I do not know anybody that, I'm sorry. I know one other couple that has been together as long as me and my wife have without getting divorced. Everyone else I know has either had such horrible relationships they've never even gotten married, or they've gotten royally fucked in divorces. Gamer Vleen, thank you. No, I'm being the odd female who pays the dudes. And you have good taste too, because I am a sexy motherfucker. And my nipples are out, just so those of you are like, is his nipples out streaming? Yes, they are. Evolved Potato over on the Streamlabs, thank you so much. Being that age when you do start to look for wife material, I'm worried about getting Me Too'd and divorced. It does make me feel afraid. But when you talk about what you have with Lady Monkey, it gives me more of a positive outlook. Yeah, it comes down to the woman. It really does. The women are just like men. There's different ones out there, but you don't want to spin that wheel and end up with the bullet in the chamber.
Yeah,
you're playing Russian roulette out there.
It's hard too, because you have to find somebody that you're compatible with, that'll put up with your nonsense and you can put up with their nonsense, and you still have to be able to want to work through your problems. Too many people hit an obstacle and they just give up. But you have to work through and try and compromise on things. Get to know the person before you marry them. Don't just rush into something.
Nothing for you here says most women are not feminazis who will turn you into the Stasi for following normal human nonverbal mating procedures. However, it takes just one to ruin your life. It's a legit issue. Sure. Most, I don't know about most, but around half of women apparently won't take your stuff. The divorce rate, I believe, is around 50% right now. But again, it just takes the one. You know what? Some of the worst things I've seen, Jack, is women who get encouraged to absolutely destroy their husbands in a divorce. Just look, we grew apart. There's no real animosity here. I just don't love you anymore. You don't love me. Let's just go our separate ways. And then there's that one bitchy feminist friend. You should burn him.
Yeah. Some of the accusations that get thrown around, and you get angry, you get heated, and you tend to do things that you regret when you're angry. But I've seen some pretty crazy stuff come out of my buddies' divorces.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a lot of divorced friends. They're on their second, third. One guy's on his fifth marriage. And every time it's pretty brutal. There's been like 2 couples I know that broke up that just were like, let's just sell the house, split it, and move on.
Mm-hmm. Nut says, my boys are 17 and 18. I've been teaching them about the bad things women can do, but I refuse to make them assholes. Are you calling me and Jack assholes? Did she just call us assholes?
I don't know. I am an asshole, so.
Yeah, but that's coming from Nuts. That's harsh. Atheist Icon, thank you so much. Waifu's tried sending me divorce paperwork. I then told her that I could take half her retirement. Things are great now. You know what? Here's the thing. Somebody said it a little bit earlier. Remove the financial incentive from divorce, and you'll see a lot of this shit stop.
Yeah.
Make it even. Make it even. Some of you youngins may not remember this, but back in the day, there used to be this thing called alimony that every divorced woman seemed to get. Yep. You know when it started going away? When a really rich woman started having to pay her man alimony. And then judges went, ooh. And then they started putting all that money into child support. Yeah.
And if you don't pay it, you're going to jail.
There is, was it an NBA star? I can't remember if it's NBA or NFL star who's paying like more than $1 million a year in child support for a child.
Yeah.
That's not child support for that kid. That is a lifestyle for that mom.
Yeah. Real quick. Thank you, Jordan 250. A woman can't take half your money if you give it all to Jack. That's a good point, Jordan. Thank you.
It's that we still have this thing of favoring women. We need to get rid of it. We really do. And then you have the stories. We read a story the other day, Jack. It's like when women aren't believed, bad things can happen. And then they told this story about how a woman wasn't believed, that her husband was abusive, and they end up killing their kid. I'm like, okay, time out. We've read that exact same story, except for the mom got custody and killed the kid. We've read that several times. How about this? How about we actually, instead of making it a male-female thing of who gets the kids, we figure out to the best of our ability who the best parent is. Or we stop using children as fucking pawns in divorce. Women have a financial incentive to get the children, to have the children over here. And some of them have a vindictive reason to do it. And that's not to say men don't do the same thing, but I don't know many men who get child support. I know my friend did, and he got a very, 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 very tiny bit of child support, even though he had the child full time. I know a lot of women who live off child support. That's how much they get for the kid. We need to stop that shit. Yep. Mandatory split custody, sure, I'm for that. That wouldn't make me upset. You've made them financial pawns, is what you've done. And when I say you, I'm talking about legislators, the people who made this shit a real thing, and judges who push this shit through and punish men for doinking their secretary. Oh, you got to pay for $1 million for a kid, Jack. I don't care. There's no place in America where you need $1 million to raise a kid.
No.
There's places in America you can raise them from birth through college on $1 million.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, easily.
A fucking year. Kiss my ass. To get child support, you have to prove to a judge that the woman's a total basket. Or to get child support, do you mean child support or child custody? You have to prove that the woman is a total basket case, full on Britney Spears crazy. If you have complete custody, if you have full custody and she works, I know in Michigan at least it's a dollar amount kind of thing. That's why my friend didn't get very much from his ex-wife, because he was making more than she was. So she only had to give him a little stipend, a little one. Like, here you go. A little, just so they could say they were equal.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
One of my best friends is paying child support. He's paying a third of his wages. It's actually just under a third of his monthly wages for child support, and the kid's not even his, but his name's on the birth certificate. That's all it takes.
I had a friend that almost happened to. He here in Michigan, there's actually a time limit on when you can say that's not my kid.
Yeah.
And after that, even if you prove there's a famous case out of Detroit where this guy, he didn't even fuck this bitch. She just, when she was in the hospital, she didn't know what name. She knew him, so she threw his name on the birth certificate. And years and years later, he's fighting it. I don't know whatever happened in the case, but because of Michigan law, the judges were like, "I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do."
Yeah, it happens to a lot of service guys when they're deployed, because then they don't need to sign the birth certificate.
I'm being charged child support for a kid who isn't mine because his sister is, and his father transitioned to female, and the state had to charge the absentee father. That's fucked up.
Yeah, that's
See, Star, I know you think we're just being misogynistic, but this is the kind of shit that worries men. And it happens more than you might think. I know there are good women out there. I'm married to one. You guys have heard me talk about my wife. Sure, she's abusive to me, but she's a sweetheart, and I love her to death, and I'd do anything for her, including give my life for her. There's a lot of women out there that ain't like that.
It's not abuse when people give you $20 to twist your nipple.
She's so mean to me. Oh, man. She's a sweetheart. She really is. She's a sweetheart. And I love her. I got very lucky, Jack. I really did.
Well, I think this equally hurts women, too, because they miss out on good guys because, they're indoctrinated with feminism. So they're, for some time, some of them are brainwashed and they come out of it and get deprogrammed. But then they have to deal with these loony feminists that are screwing men over. And that ruins the guys, too, and makes them gun shy about asking out good women. So these good chicks end up hooking up with complete scumbag men.
Real quick over on the Streamlabs, thank you, Jordan, who asked, when can a woman make a man a millionaire? When he was a billionaire. Thank you for the donation. It's also what you talked about earlier, Jack. It can make men jaded towards women.
Absolutely.
You just run into a couple of these and you're like, you know what? Masturbation is nice. It doesn't talk back. It makes me, my hand makes me sandwiches. All I got to do is clean it up first. It's all right. It doesn't talk when the game's on. Oh, but anyway, look, I'm not trying to bash women here. I'm not, because I don't blame all women for this. I think most women are more sensible than this. But I also think they don't speak up. I also think that when things like the movie Red Pill came out, there was nothing wrong with that movie, Jack. Did you see it?
I saw about half of it and then I fell asleep and just never got back to it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that movie. Like, this is misogynistic, patriarchal crap. No, it's not. It's stuff that's going on right now in this country. These are men who've been screwed over, and they don't want to see other men screwed over by a system that is built to screw them over.
Yeah. Yeah. The lawyers and feminism have done more damage to women and men, or relationships in general, I guess, than anything else. Because straight gay doesn't matter. You're going to get fucked over by the system. And that's built that way because of greedy lawyers who get a profit off of this, and corrupt, sinister women that have a goal to ruin the lives of somebody that they are no longer, if they ever loved someone.
Nut says, I understand it's just getting hard to take blame for the crazy bitches. I'm not blaming you, sweetheart.
Yeah, no one's blaming you specifically. It's just we're frustrated at a particular section of.
You know what, Jack? You hit on something we hadn't even talked about yet that is a big problem. Fucking lawyers.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about who's turned this into a cash game? Oh, dear fuck.
Yeah, never trust a lawyer. They're politicians, remember. Almost every politician is a lawyer in some regard. So Don't trust them. I don't trust politicians, and I don't trust lawyers because of it. You got a couple of tests.
Yeah, I was letting you finish there.
Yeah.
Gamer Valine, thank you. It's rare. It's rare. I'm okay with alimony or the half of everything deal. Basically, if spouse can prove they directly contributed to the wealth. Me and the man split. We keep our stuff and share the dog's custody. Fair enough. I'll get to that in just a minute. Trucker Bear, thank you. Trucking Bear. I literally had a county sheriff tell me I am not allowed to see my kid I had out of marriage and that I was nothing but a sperm donor until the courts decide. Gotta love Ohio. That sucks, dude.
Yep.
But to your point, Gamer Vleen, I know a lot of you are younger than me and Jack. Go back and watch Eddie Murphy's Raw. And yes, I'm telling you to watch a comedy special because I don't know if the actual news stories are out there. Johnny Carson used to get divorced regularly. And at one time, Johnny Carson was a very, very wealthy man. Like $300 million net worth back in the 80s. That's a lot of money, Jack.
Yeah, it is. In today's money, that's probably $1 billion.
And when he would divorce a woman, she'd get half his shit. Whatever they had when they came into the marriage, she would get half of everything. Not just even what he made since they'd been married. Half of everything. And women are like, yeah, she deserves it. And men are like, what the fuck are you talking about, ladies? One of the biggest arguments me and my wife ever got into was over alimony. And look, if you guys built wealth together, absolutely. If you're married and you're taking care of the house while he's going out there and building or working or vice versa, either way, I don't want to be sexist here, Jack. Yes, split it down the middle. If you join that relationship and he's already really wealthy or she's already really wealthy, the most I will give you is half of what was earned since you got together. Because you ain't do shit to build that.
Yep.
And you don't deserve it. I deserve it. Even I don't care if he cheated on you. I don't care if he fucked your mom right in front of you while doing coke off your sister's ass. You don't deserve shit for that. What's that? I'm sorry.
I care about that one. That's a video I'd watch.
Yeah, it might be a video you'd watch, but I don't think it should come up. I don't think it matters in the divorce proceedings.
Oh, fair enough. But if I'm on that jury, I still want to see that video. But yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right.
And again, you know why this is? We do make a mistake here, Jack, because we blame women, and some of them are to blame. But lawyers, those dirty cunts, they have a vested interest in the system staying the way it is.
Yeah, because they get a big percentage of that. If a couple gets divorced and she gets half, he gets a percentage of what that half is.
Yeah.
And the longer it drags out, the more money they get. So that's why they play all these little games with delaying things. And it just frustrates both people and makes them more bitter and more angry. And then things get more heated. It feeds into them.
If a woman, First Gamers, she says she's talking more about somebody like Bezos. Yeah, in that case, that's fine. If they build it together, or even, how about this? Just whenever you entered the marriage, whatever was built since then. That's all I'm caring. That would be my parameter. Anything built since then. That's what you're entitled to. If in that time he makes $1 million, you're entitled to $500,000. If in that time she makes $3 million, you're entitled to 1.5. That would be how I would do it. And Jay Willie says he's going to bring up an argument I've gotten in trouble for before. If a woman gets alimony or child support, then she's getting paid for getting fucked. Doesn't that make her a literal whore? No, it really doesn't. I mean, as a fun argument to piss people off, sure. When you're talking about child support, definitely not, because it's actually supposed to be to support the child, make sure the child gets food, clothing, shelter. You're able to make sure they get to school, doctors. It's for the child. It's not supposed to be for the mom, no matter how judges are using it. As for alimony, I mean, not really paid for sex. It was paid for the marriage itself. You're actually being paid for the contract being broken. So I mean, if you want to make that argument to piss women off, you can. I find it to be a bit of a facetious argument, even though I've done it myself. But that was just to piss people off. Havoc, thank you so much. Scientists have started using lawyers in experiments. First, it's to avoid animal cruelty charges. Second, there's some things even a rat won't do. There's some very good lawyers out there who do some very good things. Then there's divorce lawyers and ambulance chasers. We talked about expensive hospitals earlier. You can thank your fucking ambulance chasers for that. I don't know why it's so expensive, because you have lawyers who literally stake out ERs.
Yeah, there was a law put into effect here in Ohio. I think it was only like 10 or 15 years ago, where they couldn't come into your hospital room and give you their card.
Oh, yeah.
But up until then, they could just hang out at the hospital and give people business cards, and that was totally legal.
Yep.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, you want to see who's against tort reform? For those who don't know what tort reform is, this is being able to sue each other, putting like limits on how much you can get from a lawsuit.
Yeah.
I'm just boiling it down to layman's terms. But the people who are against tort reform, trial lawyers. That's their bread and butter, man. It's their bread and butter. They go out there and sue people, entities, whatever they can. That's how they make their money. Now, I know when you watch law shows, it's always some guy coming into a lawyer's office going, "I've been wronged." That's not how it happens. That ain't how it happens. Dating is prostitution. Been alive in hooker for almost 3 years out of 5, but I pay rent, so it's a circular flow, money flow. Did you just call yourself a hooker? Been a live-in hooker. She did. All right, gamer. You do you, sweetie. I don't really agree with alimony unless they've been together forever and one spouse needs to get educated or trained in something. Again, I'm okay with it as long as it's just the time you've been together, whether it's from high school and you get divorced in your 30s, or whether you guys met in your 30s, divorced in your 50s, whatever's built while you're together. That's what you're entitled to. And only half of that. Oh, man. Child support has locked so many young males at the bottom of the stack, preventing them from getting on their feet to pay it off, let alone contributing to society. That's a fair statement.
Yeah, and it could turn you into a criminal because you could end up in jail for missing a few payments because you lost your job or whatever. I think that's really dangerous. You should. I understand the point they're trying to make is that you're obligated to pay this, but throwing people in jail to pay child support doesn't help them earn the money to pay the child support.
No. Making license plates doesn't pay that much.
Yeah.
Or in New York, making a hand sanitizer, I guess, is the new one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh, do they still even have prisoners make license plates? I don't know if that's still a thing.
I don't think so.
Huh. I know they do other things. I can't remember if it was in my state or another one, but there was states recently where people were really pissed off because the states were using prisoners and they were undercutting real businesses.
Yeah, because they don't have to pay prisoners much.
Yeah, it's free labor basically.
Yeah.
In debtor's prison, they can also take your driver's license. That's true as well. It's true as well. And I love it. If you make arguments against it, feminists will come out there. Oh, you should have kept it in your pants then. Like maybe she should have kept it in her pants.
Yeah. There are other countries that if you get pregnant, that's on you.
Yeah.
So enjoy this abusive system while you can, ladies. Eventually, when we get invaded and the Muslims take over, it'll go back the other way.
Jack, I want to talk about something else now. I want to talk about a really dumbass tweet.
Okay.
You're a gun person.
I like guns.
I'm going to show you the tweet and see if you get what she's talking about first. That's my I'm producing for myself music. There we go. It says, "Oh, I don't know enough about guns to demand regulation. Label this diagram for me." I'll wait. By the way, this is a educational diagram, Mr. YouTube watcher. Oh, how great would it be if this is the thumbnail?
Or Miss, however they identify.
Ms. Bambi, whoever the fuck you are. This is a picture of the female reproductive system. Gentlemen, don't be scared. You don't see all of this part. This is the cow's head that's tucked up inside that beautiful woman you're looking at. Yeah, they're weird inside. Now, this is what we've talked about this before. I'm going to label these parts. This here, that's the gumball holder. This here is the curly lines that it rolls down. This is where it lands at the bottom. And then this is where you retrieve it 9 months later. Got to be careful. Because right here, right about here, I guess. Because see, this is the fallopian tube. That's the rolly part that the gumball comes down. So the fallopian tube, it feeds in this way, right? So this right here, everything back here has a good chance to be downsy.
Yeah, that's the back part of the shelf.
We're such an educational show. Anyhow.
I know number one is where you insert your quarter.
Yes, it is. Oh, my God. So, Jack, she's comparing not knowing anything about guns, so she should keep her mouth the fuck shut about gun control, with not knowing anything about the female anatomy, so you're not allowed to talk about abortion. I feel and think this is fucking retarded. A lot of the times when it's like, you don't even know anything about guns, it's because they literally don't. There are a ton of people out there, guys, and I do mean a ton, who think AR stands for assault rifle, which, by the way, it doesn't.
Yeah, it stands for armor light.
Yeah, it is not it's not assault rifle 15. That's not what it is.
It's the 15th in the line of succession.
But, you know, a better argument would be, you know what? I don't need to know everything about guns to be able to make those arguments. But I hate people who think they're clever and are really actually stupid as fuck. Proudly stupid as fuck.
Yeah.
Because even if I could name all of those things, what does that have to do with hangers?
Absolutely nothing.
Thank you, X-Bubba Hotep. Just here to remind people of the video of the guy saying fully semi-automatic. Do you know who that guy was, X-Bubba Hotep? Wasn't that guy on CNN?
Yes.
And I'm here to remind you of Don Lemon actually saying out loud that the difference between automatic and semi-automatic is a semantic argument. I was going to say article.
And that's foolish.
Automatic and semi-automatic. The difference is semantic. No, it's not. It's really not. And I have a question though, Jack, because there's a lot of women who don't know their own anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
Do they not get a say in abortion?
Apparently not. I think it's like mandatory for women nowadays.
Personally, I thought it stood for aim retard. Nice. Yeah, I saw this argument. I'm like, you've got to be fucking shitting me. One, I learned all of that stuff in 7th grade. But it has nothing to do with whether or not my arguments about abortion are right. When you're talking about the limiting the clip size, that's actually a fucking ridiculous argument to make. There are guns that take clips, guys. There are. I don't know of any of them that can take can any of them take a 30 clip magazine or a 30 bullet clip?
I don't know.
Aren't they old time rifles that take like a five? Like the Garand uses a clip, doesn't it?
Yeah. My old AK used to take stripper clips to reload. It was easier that way, but I hated doing that because it's a giant pain in the ass.
I'm not. I don't think you have to know everything about guns. I think you should have to know at least some of these statistics about guns, especially if you're going to start spouting off about how we need to get rid of guns for various reasons, like it'll keep people from getting shot in Walmarts in El Paso.
Yeah.
Shit, there went monetization.
Oh, good job. Yeah. Oh, the
Oh, well.
unload Garand. Thanks, guys. That took 8 rounds on a stripper clip.
8 rounds? Okay. I was close. I knew it was the Garand. Don't I get credit for that?
Yes.
I'm not a gun guy. And I know more about them. I'm definitely a vagina guy, though. I know those parts inside and out. I even know about the gumball theory. My family has a huge magazine gun that can take up to 200 bullets, and people think America is too gun friendly. Where are you at, man? Do we have any? I'm sure we have guns over here that you could hook something up like that. What is this going on for? Oh, anyway. Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that dumbass woman. She thinks that vaginas are the same as guns. But my bigger issue with her, Jack, besides her being a fucking moron, I don't know. I'm trying to think of jokes I haven't used yet, because I've used a lot of them because it's silly shit. But I don't know of any state that has banned vaginas from school.
Not in this country. Afghanistan does.
Fair enough. I don't know of any of them where there's vagina-free zones that you're allowed to put up on the side of buildings. Signs.
You used to have groups that would allow that. They were called gentlemen's clubs.
Yeah, we had to get rid of them because of vagina holders.
Exactly. But now you could carry your vagina concealed. You could open carry, I suppose, but you probably get in trouble in some places for that.
Let's see. What are some of the other ones? Well, I've probably gone through them all between Twitter and the stream earlier. You're literally talking about abortion, is what she's talking about. She's not smart enough to just say it, which you can still get in every state in the union. Every state in the union. Other than that, you are free to use your vagina however the fuck you want. Other than the few rules that we have for abortion right now, you are free to use your vagina however the fuck you want. That vagina is yours. You can shove a balloon up there and walk through the streets with it if you want. The only thing, okay, we do make people cover it in public, Jack. Most of the time.
Yeah, it's carry concealed.
Yeah, but you don't have to lock it in a safe when you get home. You don't have to have a fingerprint ID to be able to use it. Making that comparison is fucking retarded. Anyhow, what else I got on the docket today, Jack? I don't know. Oh, the Michigan AG, Dana Nessel, I think is how you say it. You know what? Let's just watch, shall we? Let's just watch this one because I actually had to watch it because the tweet that it was attached to, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way she actually said that. So here we go. Let's listen to Wolf Blitzer, who introduces Dana.
The discussion right now with Michigan's Attorney General, Dana Nessel. Attorney General, thank you so much for joining us this morning. You said right here on CNN that if President Trump doesn't wear a mask, he'll be asked not to return to any undisclosed facilities in your state. Is the president no longer welcome in Michigan?
Is the president of the United States no longer allowed in Michigan?
Well, I will say, speaking on behalf of my department and my office, that's right. That's exactly right. I
I'm sorry. Crazy bitch says what?
mean, today's events were extremely disappointing and yet totally predictable. And I will say that, you know, understanding, of course, that his own doctor, Dr. Fauci,
That is not the president's personal physician.
No.
his own medical expert, recommends the wearing of masks in public enclosed spaces.
Recommends, not requires.
See how far away he is from everyone?
The CDC makes that recommendation. In Michigan, of course, now
You do know, Jack, that some people are now saying that we should not be wearing masks.
I have heard that.
They're saying, I haven't looked into it deeply, but there's something about wearing the mask is actually a health risk. I haven't seen how, but I'll have to look it up and learn more about it. But I love how she has a couple of things that she believes, and that's what she's running with.
Yeah.
And so Trump went to a Ford plant, and now he's not allowed back in Michigan because crazy bitch says so.
But wait, there's more.
now that is the law. And
Wait, what was that?
Yep.
now that is the law.
Wait, what? Let's back it up so we can hear what she's saying is the law.
Medical expert recommends the wearing of masks in public enclosed spaces. The CDC makes that recommendation. In Michigan, of course, now that is the law.
What? I'm sorry. Jack, how are laws passed?
Through the executive fiat.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. She actually said it.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, like I said, when I first saw this tweet, because it came from a source that I don't necessarily trust, the account Breaking News 911 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so when I saw their tweet, I'm like, okay, I have to watch. All right, here. Remember, guys, it's the law.
And in fact, a court just upheld the governor's orders just hours ago, and even in Ford, it is their own policy. So the president is like a petulant child who refuses to follow the rules. And I have to say, this is no joke. I mean, you just reported that 93,000 people have died in the United States. He's in a county right now where over 100 people have died. I am 20 minutes away from him in Wayne County, where we've had over 2,300 people die. This is not a joke. And he's conveying the worst possible message to people who cannot afford to be on the receiving end of terrible misinformation. It's very, very concerning.
Misinformation. This bitch just told everybody that this is the law. It's not a law. I can't take any more of her. She got a weird upper lip, man.
Yeah. Well, she goes on to say that the president is not only not welcome in Michigan, but any place that tries to host him, she's going after. And there will be consequences for them. First of all, he's the president of the United States. Michigan is not a sovereign nation. He can go wherever the fuck he wants in Michigan. And if she tries to arrest him, you're going to have a real problem on your hands because that's an act of civil war. That's treason.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We heard this back in was it the Clinton days where one Republican senator in South Carolina said that Bill Clinton shouldn't come to South Carolina? Made the assertion that he'd probably get assassinated if he went there.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
No.
And you don't have the authority to tell him he can't come to Michigan. If I was Trump, I would be back in Michigan right now.
Yeah. Well, the fact that she said they're going after any place that hosts him, that's retaliation. And I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
Yes, yes.
Because that's all political. That's got nothing to do. It's really got nothing to do with him wearing a mask. You can't force people to do things like that. I'm sorry. People have the right to be dumbasses. And if some bullshit Michigan court said they can uphold this forced wearing of masks, I think that'll be overturned.
Well, I have that case brought up.
Oh.
A state court in Michigan ruled that Governor Gretchen Whitmer has the authority to extend the state's state of emergency, refuting claims made by GOP leaders in the legislature that she overstepped her authority. A judge called claims by Republican state lawmakers meritless. Judge Cynthia Stephen noted that Whitmer did exceed her authority by trying to extend the state emergency under the Emergency Management Act of 1976, which requires approval by the legislature. However, the governor did have constitutional authority to extend the state of emergency under the Emergency Management Act of 1945. Through two distinct acts stated in plain and certain terms, the legislature has granted the governor broad but focused authority to respond to emergencies that affects the state and its people, Stevens said, according to the Detroit News. The ruling overrides the challenge from state Republicans, but they have said they will appeal. So we'll see what happens. I need to go refresh myself on the Emergency Management Act of 1945, and because I'm very curious how the two acts work together. You know what I mean?
Think they're reaching on this one. Over on the Streamlabs real quick. Thank you, Evolved Potato. I'm sure this woman only got her position from lying on her back and sitting under desks. I would not be entirely surprised.
Yeah, let's see. During times of great public crisis, disaster, rioting, catastrophe, or similar public emergency within the state, or reasonable apprehension of immediate danger of a public emergency of that kind, when public safety is implied either upon application of the mayor of a city, sheriff of a county, or of the commissioner of the Michigan State Police, or upon his or her own volition, the governor may proclaim a state of emergency and a designated area involved. After making the proclamation, the governor may promulgate. God, I hate that word.
Promulgate, yeah.
Reasonable orders, rules, and regulations as he or she considers necessary to protect life and property or bring the emergency situation within the affected area under control. Yeah, there's no limit on here there's no time limit on here. So we'll see what the next court thinks. Yeah, she absolutely violated one of the orders, but not the other. That is interesting.
Yeah, I think this is dangerous that they're grabbing this kind of power that they think they can stop the president from going somewhere within the country. Even the territories can't do that shit. So, yeah, I don't know, man. This is getting it out of hand. They're trying to seize all this power, and now they're trying to tell the president of the United States what they can and can't do. What are they going to do? Have the cops arrest the president?
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, that's not going to end well. Even if you manage to do that, you're going to start a civil war. And there are people within your own state that aren't with you. So I think these people are really pushing the line of what they're going to be able to get away with before people really start to have a problem with it.
Thank you, Cigar Chomping Penguin. Not a joke? No, bitch. This is a joke. The fact that you don't realize it makes it all the funnier.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. You know what? I saw a couple of fucking idiots on Twitter today. Yesterday. Both of them being United States House of Representatives members. One, Jerry Nadler, and the other one was Nancy Pelosi. Both of them complaining about how bad the economy is.
That's their fault.
They want to pass a new stimulus. And even though he said it wasn't going to do a stimulus, it looks like McConnell is on board to do a stimulus now, but he is not going to do the House stimulus.
No, their stimulus is insane.
And there's one provision that they want in there. I forget. Let me see if I can find it. Did I respond directly to that? Oh, yes, I did, because I called Jerry a fat ass. Where'd it go? The HEROES Act fights for working Americans most severely impacted by the COVID crisis, providing unemployment benefits to tens of millions who have lost their jobs. So what they want to extend that $600 federal unemployment, and McConnell's like, no, that's not on the table.
No, because that's just going to drag this out even worse. Because why would you go to work if you're making more money staying at home?
Right. Let people get back to work and see how well it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm right now reading the Emergency Management Act of 76. I'm trying to see if it overrides 7 or 45, and it looks like it was made to do that. An act to provide for planning, mitigation, response, and recovery from natural and man-made disasters within and without the state, to create Michigan Emergency Management Advisory Council and prescribe its powers and duties, to prescribe powers and duties of certain state and local agencies and officials, to prescribe immunities and liabilities, to provide for the acceptance of gifts, and to repeal acts and parts of gifts. Or acts and parts of acts, I'm sorry. I got stuck on the gifts part. Yeah, I'll have to read through this because I'm hoping this state isn't dumb enough to have not at all limited this woman's power.
It's possible because that was post World War II, so they might have thought that people would have reasonable sense back then, but we don't live in that time anymore.
No, we started hiring women to be governors. Oh, yeah. That's not right. I'm sorry. I'm sure there's some good ones. Mine's just not. This woman's an idiot. This woman's a fucking idiot.
I think she's cunning, and she sees an opportunity here to grab power, and she now thinks herself to be a little bit of a queen.
She's what's the word I'm looking for here? An idiot. I don't know that there's a better way to say it. I read this really long piece about her, Jack. I forget which publication it was in. It's all part of the push to try to help get her to be, the vice president. And it talks about how everybody in Michigan loves her. You won't find anybody who'll say a bad thing about her. I'm like, I can't find anybody saying a good thing except for the talking heads on CNN.
Oh, they love her.
And granted, I'm in a small part of the country. I don't go out very often, but I can't find anybody who's like, oh, Gretchen Whitmer's the bomb. She's so cool. Most of them are like, bitch, get out of our way. But it talks about how she's a fighter, Jack. She's a fighter. Even though she was in the assembly, and our assemblyman, it's always Republican. Our governor switches back and forth, but we tend to keep our legislature is Republican because there's only a couple of blue areas of the state, and they get their things. And then the little Democrats go to Lansing, and they get beat up by the Republicans in the legislature all the time. But she was a fighter, Jack, and like, oh my God, they're just trying to make a here. Just listen to the woman speak. She's a goddamn moron. Anyway, did you see? There's some people upset with the Biden campaign right now. They officially asked Amy Klobuchar for permission to dig into her life to vet her to be VP.
I saw that.
Amy fucking Klobuchar. I mean, of all the picks that they could have gone with, I guess she's among the better. Because she's one of the few who was fighting back, at least near the end of the campaign, against the Medicare for all and all that kind of shit. She's like, no, we can't do that. We have to find other ways. So at least there's that. I don't know if I trust her because early on she didn't seem to have any problem with it.
Isn't she the one that ate a salad with a comb?
Yeah.
Hmm.
She's reportedly horrifically mean to her staff.
Well, that fits. Maybe Biden thinks he can sniff the meanness out of her.
But she's being vetted right now. She's the only one that I know of who is being. I haven't seen anybody else mentioned. That doesn't mean she's going to be the vice president. Well, the vice presidential candidate. But I saw this story. This was just sent to me. I'll do this in a moment. But Amy Klobuchar?
I think it's a fake out. They're trying to get everybody ginned up talking about Amy Klobuchar when they actually have somebody else in mind, and they're trying to delay releasing that.
Look, I will have to admit I was wrong if it ends up being Klobuchar, but I do not see Joe Biden picking a white woman.
No, I think he'll go with Elizabeth Warren because she's native. Just ask her.
Yeah, go with the native chick. I think that's your best bet.
And she's like Bernie Jr., so he could get those Bernie voters locked in their minds anyway. And I don't think they'll go with Harris, but I don't see it being Klobuchar. Maybe it will. I don't know. He's pretty senile at this point, but I don't think it's going to be her. I think this is a fake out.
Well, I think your vice president right now is running against Pence. So if there's a debate, you don't have to be a bulldog in there because Pence is a very he's the anti-Trump.
Yeah.
He's relaxed. He's calm all the time. So you don't need a bulldog. He just needs to prove that he likes black women. And I'm not being facetious there. That's what a lot of people think. There's a lot of articles that have been written about the power of black women in this upcoming election. So maybe he'll go with a honky. I don't think he will. I don't think he's going to go with Abrams. Did we watch that video on here?
Yeah, that was great.
Her fucking face when like, are you going to announce something? And he's like, well, I brought her on because she's very knowledgeable about cheating in the elections. Which, by the way, a Michigan City clerk has been charged with altering ballots.
Shocker.
We were told by so many on the left that ballot tampering. This is a very. I read this in another article or in another story too that wasn't quite as biased as this piece seems to be already. But let's go back. We were told by so many on the left that the ballot tampering and election fraud does not occur. Once they're confronted with an example of it happening, then we're told that it happens rarely. At this point, are they going to admit it does happen and happens more often than we think? The National Review is reporting that Sharika Hawkins, a city clerk for Southfield, Michigan, has been charged with 6 felony counts for allegedly altering absentee ballots during the November 2018 election. Mrs. Hawkins, a registered Democrat, was arraigned Monday in Southfield on falsifying returns or records, forgery of public records, misconduct in office, and multiple counts of using a computer to commit a crime. She was released on $15,000 bond. Look, man, you don't have to be worried about election fraud. You don't have to be worried about it. We had a problem here in Michigan the other day, Jack. I don't know if you heard about it. The state sent out, I think it was 77,000 absentee ballots that nobody asked for. It's a true story, guys. True story. And President Trump's like, what the fuck? We're going to look into this, and if we have to, we're going to take money from the state. And everybody's like, but you just don't want a free and fair election. You don't want everybody's vote to count. It's not what it's about at all.
Did they try and claim that they were only applications or something like that?
Probably, I didn't see. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have to request one. And there's a reason for that. It's so that they know it's only going to one person, that it is going to the person who's requesting it. When you just mass send them out, which is what the Democrats want to do this time. They're like, oh, we finally got them. We're going to just send everybody a ballot. Do you know how easy that is to forge?
Yeah.
The county clerk doesn't know what my fucking signature looks like. That's why I have to go down to the voting place and show them my ID before I go in and vote. The Democrats and Republicans will tell you. There was an article the other day, Jack, where even Democrats are saying, yeah, the easiest way to fix an election to use fraudulent methods is mail-in ballots. Like, it's odd you're so anxious to use them.
Right?
I mean, it's not odd. It's just real. Anyhow, fucking Michigan, man. Fucking Michigan. Professor Cass, thank you. Facebook banned an article I posted on the election fraud as spam, so I spammed articles from other news outlets on it. Nice. I don't post much on Facebook. I have a Facebook, but I don't use it very often. It's strictly for talking with family I haven't seen in a long time. Because most of my family that I talk to is in Michigan, but we're spread around the state. It's the only reason I use it. And for old high school friends. But
I never check mine. It's all, well, I might be still suspended, but it's all Orange Man bad nonsense on my timeline. So I stopped using it a couple years ago.
What just came through there? Was that the same one? Sorry, I just got a message, but I wasn't looking at it. Okay, good. Yeah, that was the same one. What time we got here, Jack? We're an hour and 46. Anything? Oh, you know what, Jack? You were supposed to remind me of these stories you posted.
Oh, yeah. Hey, check out those things in the...
Thanks for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're going to jail. Texas park gate attendant who called 911 and claimed she was being run over by a driver is fired after a clip of her lying goes viral. Wasn't this video a while ago?
I don't remember, but it just came across my feed today, and I thought it was hilarious.
I'm going to put the pictures from this video because I don't know if the video is further down, but here's the pictures. I remember this bitch's face. I remember that.
Yeah.
But apparently she's been fired. Let's read more about it, shall we? Or as best I can. A park employee in Texas has been fired after she called the police falsely claiming a visitor was running her over. The gate attendant, who is a contractor with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers at the Cedar Breaks Park in Lake Georgetown, lost her job after... Wow. I thought they were... Okay. Lost her job after she called 911 and repeatedly screamed down the phone, "He's running me over," even though the vehicle was not moving. Driver Chris Hampshire posted a video of the incident, which happened at around 8:47 p.m. on August 25th. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that was a while ago. On social media, showing worker Judine Reed begging police to come and help. In the 2-minute clip, viewed more than 150,000 times on YouTube and shared over 16,000 times on Facebook, the woman shouts down the phone in her hand, "He's a lunatic, and he's videotaping me," before repeatedly shouting for Mike to come in. She then told Hampshire, "You're in serious trouble. You're going to jail." And when he asked why, she yelled, "You're hurting me. You just ran me over." She then stood in front of his car. The woman says to police, "Please hurry." And he's still moving as he banged the car's bonnet, even though he was standing outside the stationary vehicle recording the bizarre exchange. So that crazy bitch ended up getting fired. Good.
Yeah. Did you see the video of it?
I saw it a long time ago. Is it in there? Because the
I just threw it in the side if you want to watch it.
There we go.
It's funny. I thought it was hysterical.
Let's bring that up so people can see what we're talking about here. We haven't had a crazy bitch video tonight, so let's watch this one. Well, I guess we did with the Michigan chick, but
yeah, this is a same type of crazy, just different situation.
There we go.
Please, some guy in a car, and now he's videotaping me?
Because this
Because
is
he's
unlawful.
hitting me. Ma'am, he's running me over.
No, I'm not.
Ma'am, hurry, please, hurry. Mike! 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 Mike!
Whoops. Sorry, guys.
Mike!
Turn that crazy bitch down a bit.
Yes, please! Hurry, ma'am! Ma'am, I don't know, and he's a lunatic, and he's videotaping me! Ma'am, please hurry!
This is bad acting.
Mike!
I feel bad for Mike.
Me too.
You're in trouble.
How
You're going
so?
to jail.
How so?
You're hurting me!
How?
You just ran over! Ma'am, please hurry! He just ran over and he's still moving! Please, ma'am! Please
Wow.
hurry!
The real crime here is filming in portrait mode when he should be in landscape.
Yes. And stopping there. I want to see when the police come.
Right? Because the cops do show up. I know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, did she not think that he's going to show this video to the cops?
Right. He's got evidence.
Yeah. I kind of agree with Midnight here. I think she actually believes her own bullshit.
Oh, and the other one that you had here was the one from the crazy bitch here in Michigan. So
Yeah.
got both of those. I don't think she believes her own bullshit. I think she thought that when the police came, she could get him in trouble and they'd never look at it.
Yeah, that's probably true, but I don't know. She looks like one of those crazy bitches that would lie and believe her own lie. So-
Perhaps. I don't understand why. Does anybody know how it started?
He was apparently going out the wrong gate because he had a jet ski on his vehicle and he was apparently leaving the wrong way or something. And I guess she was like the guard or whatever on duty to move the gate, from my understanding of it. And she didn't want him to leave through that gate. So it's pretty dumb. He's got a good lawsuit against her, I think. She tried to get him arrested.
And she's going to go to jail for a while. You got false police report there, abusing the 911 system. She's going to do 6 months or so. Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of time in jail, Lori Loughlin has finally cut a deal.
Oh, yeah?
Her and her husband both decided that they were going to just plead guilty. She is getting 3 months in prison, and he is getting 5.
That's actually pretty reasonable. I don't have a problem with that.
It's probably still a lot more than they would have got if they'd have just fessed up at the beginning,
Yeah.
but it is a lot less than they were facing if they went to trial.
Oh, yeah.
They were facing years in prison.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't it like a couple decades or something?
Yeah, if for every charge stacked on top of each other. Plus, they do have to pay a fine. I don't remember the amount of the fine, but that would have been a lot higher as well. This is why if you did it, I did it. Let's get this out of the way. Especially with something like this. This is a horribly small white collar crime that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
I know it's all over the news because it's got actors and shit in it, but nobody cares. And I can prove nobody cares. Who are the non-actors that got arrested for this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We
but
care
look-
because it's a celebrity case.
I think that Lori Loughlin should have been sentenced to having sex with me 3 times.
That's not unreasonable.
Yeah, because that would probably be a more haunting punishment than prison. Because it would be mean. It would be bad. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is something nobody cares about, but it is something they should have been punished for. So I don't think their time is unreasonable here.
I'm making my first Facebook post in like 30 years. Seal, thank you so much. 100,000 for her and 250,000 for the husband. Oh, that's chimp change for them. Chump change for them.
Yeah,
I'd be able to pay that with no problem.
Yeah, I would have no problem with some fines added on too. Yeah, I think that's perfectly reasonable for people as wealthy as they are.
I'm not sure that the punishment fits the crime. I mean, if you're going to punish them for this, I think the fine is the way to go, and it should hurt, because what they did is you know what, fine all of these people, just fine the fuck out of them, and then make a scholarship fund for kids who can't get into the school normally because they can't afford it, but still have grades that actually make it so they should be there. That to me would be a more fitting punishment.
Yeah, the problem is though that like you have to find a way to write it into the law that you're going to find them an amount that's reasonable based on their circumstance. Because you know that like the coach that got busted doing this, he can't afford nearly what they can, and it would financially ruin him, where it would just be like a line item deduction on theirs.
We'll do it based on the amount that they paid. Where's it at? Exactly where's the so-called equality? If you're talking about the difference in their fine and their sentence, it comes down to, as far as I know, him being far more involved than she was. Like, I don't know how involved she was in all of this, but we do know that he was the one that had his daughter get on a rowing machine and took the picture that was altered to make it look like she was on the crew team.
Yeah. It really sounded more like she was just the money in this.
Yeah, like she didn't object. She was still part of it, but he was the one who was a bit more. And I get what you're saying. They're both being charged for the same thing, but he does have more. If I remember correctly, he is facing more charges. Did you see the one form Jay Wolf about Australian scientists found signs of artificial manipulation of the virus? I did not, but I wouldn't be shocked if that's true.
Yeah.
I heard she pled to 3, or he pled to 3, and she pled to 2. That I wouldn't be surprised by that. Jack, you know what I haven't done in a while?
Objectify women?
Well, there's that too.
Oh.
Somebody said earlier that they know every night I'm going to objectify women. I feel I don't objectify women every night.
Just most nights.
Now, if you said every week, you'd probably be right, but not every night. Come on. No, I haven't said, guys, we're brought to you by you. If you enjoy what you're watching, please hit the like button, please share, and please toss money at my friend Jack here. He enjoys pesos. It helps him buy frozen burritos, which helps him live.
It's true.
Hashtag frozen burritos for Jack. That's the number 4, not spelled out. Just saying. You objectify men every night too. I don't objectify people every night. I feel like that's a mischaracterization of my being, Jack.
I think it's pretty accurate.
It's not every night. There have been some nights where I haven't, and I've actually said, wow, I didn't even object women tonight. I do it most of the time. I'm not going to lie to people.
Well, it depends. I mean, in your soul, in your heart, in your mind, are you objectifying women every night? Probably.
Okay, let me rephrase. You're right, Jack. I don't objectify women on stream every night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, Evolved Potato even put it in chat. Same thing I just said. So I'm not alone on this one.
All right, fair enough. I stand corrected. But on show, I don't objectify women every night. Now I have to make I don't objectify women every night shirt. You know, I watched Steven Crowder today.
Oh,
and there's Ron White tells a joke. It's actually it's the first joke I ever heard Ron White tell. It's how he opened the show on the Redneck Comedy Tour thing they did.
Mm-hmm.
Tells a joke about how he's sitting naked eating Cheetos, sitting in a beanbag naked eating Cheetos, and he turned on the television. There was a televangelist on there, and he starts asking questions. The televangelist just starts asking questions like, "Are you a sinner?" That kind of thing. He's like, "Yes, sir." That's how I felt watching Steven Crowder tonight.
Uh-oh.
At the end of the show, he's talking about having grit, having like grit. He has a lot of grit, and how grit doesn't matter if you don't actually have he doesn't actually use the word, but if you don't have motivation, or not motivation, what is it, Jack? Not motivation. What's the other thing? Discipline. Discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline. If you don't actually go out there and have discipline and do stuff, at the end he's like, what are the things that you need to be out there doing so that when grit becomes a question, you can actually do it? I was like, you talking to me, aren't you, fucker? And so I did something, Jack. I got up and I went out there and I rode my bike.
Oh, nice.
For the second time this week, Jack.
Well, even
Because
better.
the first time I did it, my knee was hurting. So I've been excusing myself. Like, well, I don't want to hurt my knee again. And it's like, damn it, Steven's talking to me again. So I got up and I went out and I rode my bike. And I set my timer for 30 minutes. And I made it 10, which I thought was pretty good for me, for a fat guy who's crippled and hasn't exercised in years.
Yeah.
You ever have that moment, Jack, when you realize you are your biggest problem?
All the time, but I choose to ignore it.
Look, guys, I'm not going to tell you about bettering yourself because I'm not the person to give you that speech. I'm one of those people who can tell you what you should do, but doesn't do it himself. I'm a hypocrite in that way, Jack. Well, it's not hypocritical. I would make a great coach because I can tell you how to do things, but I'm not going to do them myself.
Well, you don't
need
have
to run.
It's not your job to do what you're teaching other people to do.
Yeah, but there's a great episode of Scrubs where
No, there's not.
how dare you? How dare you? Look, you can call Alicia Silverstone fat. How dare you insult Scrubs?
It's funny because I know it fires you up.
That hurt me in my soul.
No,
there's a great episode of Scrubs where Elliot decides that she needs to live by the same things as she tells her patients. And Dr. Cox has to convince her, look, that's not your job. Just what you said there, Jack. It's not your job. Your job is to tell them how to get better.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a part of me, especially in the shape I'm in right now, when I know there's more I could be doing, more I should be doing, where if I told somebody, you need to go out there and exercise for 20 minutes a day, or you need to cut back on how much junk food you're eating, or you need to work on your YouTube channel more. These all may be true, but in the back of my head, I would be hearing, so do you, fucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was a sobering moment watching the end of that Crowder. Like, I've been laughing this whole time, and now you're judging me, motherfucker. How dare you? Michael, thank you so much. $10 for Monk because Jack insulted Scrubs. He better not mean it. Have you ever watched Scrubs?
Oh yeah, of course. It's okay. I don't like the guy that plays JD.
I'll be honest. Most of the time I watch Scrubs, I prefer these parts where JD's not in it.
Yeah. I like Sarah Chalk. I think she's actually funny for a chick. It's one of the few women that I find funny. And Dr. Cox is awesome, and the janitor is my spirit animal. But beyond that, I just think the show's okay. It's just not my thing. I understand that it's funny. It's just not funny to me.
I like JD when it's him and Turk, and you see the bromance they have. I like JD when he's in his serious mode, when he's not being the doofball, because he has some very serious, well acted scenes. But yeah, he's not my favorite character by a long shot. I just find the show, no, Midnight in Exile. I love the janitor. He has since high school.
Yeah, it's true. We had a thing. No, I just think the show's, in my opinion, it's mediocre. But I understand it's got a more populist appeal. I'm very choosy with my shows. And I don't really watch a lot of comedy anymore. So
I didn't come to Scrubs the way most people did because I didn't watch network television. Every so often, I told you before, we'll just turn on the TV in this house. Just that background noise, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it used to be on USA or something like that. It's very much the same way I came to love the movie Can't Hardly Wait. But I would see it, and it's so many of like JD's dumb fucking dream sequences, which, by the way, they must have spent a fortune on. For like half of a second of a... There's one scene in season 1 where JD ends up getting his appendix out. But Elliot does an examination of him, and she's got really cold hands. And it switches to one of JD's little thought things that he does. And he's sitting there entirely in blue makeup with icicles on him for about 2 seconds. And then it goes back. And that's the only time he's in that makeup the whole fucking show. I'm like, that is a horrible waste of time. It makes a great moment, but it's a horrible waste of time. Anyway, I saw these dumb things, but then slowly I started to see some of the ones where they had more, genuine moments, and I just got hooked on it, and I couldn't stop watching it. I love the show. I think it's great. And I do love silly comedy too. It has a lot of great slapstick in it, which you don't get a lot anymore.
Yeah.
I can't take slapstick to the point I'm going to upset some people. I think I don't understand why the Three Stooges are so funny.
Communist.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, you like Scrubs. Baffles me.
Oh, you are an asshole. Jack's trying to get kicked off the show.
Oh, thank you, Evolved Potato said money for Jack because even though I like Scrubs, it's fun to watch Monkey get mad.
Oh, this is hurtful.
Thank you, Evolved.
This is like I'm going to have to go find a priest to figure out how to put my soul back together.
Look, no, I mean, like I said, I have nothing. I am neither for nor against Scrubs. It's like Community. You either like it or you don't. There's really not a lot of middle ground there. I find the show okay, but I'm an exception to the rule, I think.
It also depends. So many shows on TV, it depends on what season. Season 1 it's actually got one of the better season 1s of any show I've ever watched. But if you watch the later seasons and then go back, it's almost that Next Generation thing. If you watch Next Generation from, say, season 3 on, and then you go back and watch season 1, you're like, oh my God, the fuck is this? Gamer Vleen, thank you. Dr. Cox is my spirit animal. Okay, me as an E5. There you go. Yeah, like I said, the only part of Scrubs that bothers me is I realize, because there's a lot of parts of JD and Turk's relationship that I assign to me and Satsu, and not just because he's black and I'm white, but just the bromance that goes on there. And I realize in that relationship, I'm JD.
Oh, like, oh, come on. That's not fair. Oh. You can be funny too.
Oh, that's her. God damn you. I'm the nerd. He's the cool one. And like, damn it. I'm the cool one. You strike me more as Turk. Not when it's me and Satsu together, though. I can be cool. Now, maybe if it was me and Scribe, because I'm definitely cooler than Scribe. Throwing that out there. Does Satsu know you cast him as in your interracial fantasy? Yes, I've said this to him before. Absolutely. I've asked him, like, have you seen Scrubs? You and me are Turk and JD. That's what we are. It's guy love. Monkey strikes me as a nerd. I am a nerd, but you wouldn't know that looking at me. And you wouldn't know that when we talk sports or, I'm a big athletic guy, but I also, and I like sports, but I'm also a giant fucking nerd. It is what it is,
As a giant fucking nerd, you would know it looking at me. You'd be like, nerd.
No, like I've had people like shocked, like, you play D&D? Like, yeah. Like, I also play video games, and okay, I got laid in high school, but that's just because I'm not an actual nerd. Children, don't get laid in high school. It's not good for you. I mean, I had fun, but it's not good for you. It's one of those times where in the back of my head, I'm like, can't say that, fucker. You're a hypocrite. Don't have sex in school, children. Have sex when you get home. No, don't do that either.
There's nowhere comfortable. She's going to get burns on her knees.
Yeah. That's what the woods are for. Mm. And yes, I've literally had sex in school. Let's see. Scribe is a mad scientist of language, and that instantly makes him cooler than all of us. Yes, I'm simping for Scribe. Sue me. Simping for Scribe. He just said Scribe has mediocre pussy.
Well, maybe he does. I don't know what's in Scribe's basement.
I cannot see people say simp and not jump to that. Like, you guys stop saying that you're simping for somebody. That's mediocre pussy. Mediocre pussy. That one chick. I love my simps. I'm like, oh, like, you got mediocre pussy, honey?
Oh, some of these chicks that I see talking like that, yeah, I think they do have mediocre pussy.
Put your back into it, baby.
Flex those Kegel muscles. Also not pictured in that diagram. The all-important Kegel muscles. And also not pictured the feminine penis.
This is me simping for Scrubs. You know what? You can simp for Scrubs. Thank you so much for the donation, Michael. Yeah, Scrubs was a great show. I was watching. I've watched a lot of Steven Crowder lately, Jack. It's because I've been playing Fallout 76, and it's hard to find long form videos you want to watch while you're playing a video game. And I know I like Crowder, so I just grab a Crowder thing and throw it on. He does a lot of long form videos, and several of them I haven't seen. And he had Megyn Kelly on the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, God, she looks good.
Yeah, she is pretty hot for an older chick with 3 kids.
There you go, guys. There's my objectifying women for the night. Whew. Yeah, she's so cute. But I forgot what I was talking about. I mentioned Megyn Kelly, and now I'm gone.
Hold on. Thank you, Cigar Chomping Penguin. Cash for Jack because I'm with him. Scrubs is about as funny as ball cancer. Friends is even worse.
Some of y'all don't have any taste, man.
Friends sucks. I'm sorry.
Evolved Potato says, my long form videos are yours. I appreciate that. And Jack, I think, would say he appreciates that.
Absolutely.
I don't want to speak for you, but yeah, we appreciate you watching. But it's weird to just sit and listen to yourself. I'm conceited, but I'm not quite that conceited. You know, Megyn Kelly's she's already started her own YouTube channel, Jack.
Yeah, it's actually not bad. She's a good interviewer.
She is. And it was interesting. A lot of people fell out of love with her because of the debate and her getting all pissed off about Trump suggesting she might be on her period.
Yeah, which was funny.
Yeah.
She's anti-Trump, and she let her buy a show. Mm-hmm. That's where she screwed up.
But I would be interested how many people were mad at her about that, would love her for that Steven Crowder interview. You should watch it, Jack. She is. He actually asked her, he's like, okay, why is Biden getting a pass on this when Kavanaugh got some? And she goes, you know why? It's bias. And she actually says it. You know why? It's bias. Like, fuck. Megyn doesn't want to work for anybody ever again.
Well, she's got enough money. She doesn't need to.
Well, yeah, Steven brings that up too. You know, like, you have a lot of money. You don't have to be doing this. And she's like, no, I just want to be. I want to be working.
Yeah, she's got fuck you money from not only from her time at Fox where she made millions. She had a best-selling book, and then she got like 20 million after ABC fired her.
Yeah. She's gone around the networks just collecting money.
Yeah.
And you know what? Good for her. Yeah, I don't hate her the way a lot of people did. I think she overreacted to the fluids coming out of wherever.
Yeah.
And you're right. It was her bias against Trump showing. But that doesn't make her a horrible person overall. She was definitely biased against Trump. I wonder if she's been asked about that. Steven didn't ask her about it. I wonder how she feels about her own biases there.
I don't know. She was a reasonably decent sized feminist for a while, so she probably
Yeah.
still doesn't like the guy for that reason. But I mean, how can you compare and contrast Biden and Trump, because they're both kind of have a track record of being kind of creepy with chicks?
And they actually talk about that. It was a really good discussion, and she came down, as far as I could tell, on every point as a conservative Republican. I was like, wow, yeah, she definitely doesn't want to work again. I know a lot of conservative Republicans who do not like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Way too many, actually.
Well, it's surprising because a lot of the stuff he's done is pretty conservative.
Yeah, but they don't trust him.
Well, you should
because-
trust any politician.
Right. But he's been a New York liberal his whole life. So, I mean, that's fair. And two, I mean, he's not presidential, and that means something to a lot of people. I don't think it should mean that much, because there's part of me, Jack, that's like, okay, I get the pomp and circumstance and all that. But our government is also supposed to be us.
Yeah.
Of the people, for the people, by the people. He's not supposed to be this regal figure. We were actually fighting against that.
Yeah, they want a kingly persona, and that doesn't mean that they're good with policy.
Right. I will take the jackass who actually gets shit done over the guy who gives me platitudes in a nice with a perfectly done suit and his hair perfectly done and that bright white smile. Give me the jackass who tells me as he sees it. At least then I know what he actually thinks,
Yeah, I would rather have an honest, brutally honest person than somebody that's going to lie to me and do shady shit where they're spying on us and stuff like that.
Now, don't get me wrong. He can be an absolute petulant child. That woman wasn't wrong when she used that phrase. She was wrong when she used it here.
Yeah.
The Attorney General of Michigan that we watched earlier, he can be an absolute petulant child, and that's when somebody should come in and go, we need your phone, Mr. President. It's not time to tweet. You need to go play some Nintendo for a while, calm down, and then we'll give it back. But otherwise, I mean, he just comes out there and he makes jokes, and they always take the joke seriously, and he just tells you what he thinks. Jack, were you here for? Yeah, you were here the other night. I almost did a Dear Dumbass. I was going to do a Dear Dumbass episode of this show.
Uh-oh.
Because we got a response on the video the other day where we went over the fact check from the Washington Post. And there was somebody very, very angry with us.
Shocker.
Yeah, I know, right? They're like, did they even read or pay attention to what they were reading? I'm like, yeah. And I pointed out to him the part where Donald Trump had said, that way back on January 14th, the CDC was still saying that there was no human-to-human contact. And their fact check was literally, he's referring to this CDC tweet, but the CDC woman came out and said that it might be transmittable that way. They just don't know. I'm like, that's literally the end. The first part of that debunking is all they needed. He was referring to this tweet. The end.
Yeah.
Whether they changed their mind, whether they said something else or not, he said, as late as January 14th, you were saying this, and said what they said. That was a fact. And he's like, oh, you just, what was, oh, I should pull that up. I wonder if I can. Let me see if I can find it real fast. Because the response to that was absolutely asinine. For as many fucking things in here that I get, you would think I would actually get notifications when they come in. The other day, I got a notification literally as we ended the show that the show was starting.
I still haven't been notified that we're on.
Sounds right. Where's it? Oh, is this really how low your standards are with Trump? Like, my low standard is reality. Yeah, that came very close to being an entire Dear Dumbass stream. Are your standards really this low? Like, are yours that low for the press? What the fuck?
Right?
Gamer Vleen, thank you. No, it's not that we didn't read it. Your biggest fan said we didn't understand it, and he is. I watch on replay, but I don't comment on everything. I try to look at all the comments we get, Jack, and we do get a lot. And thank you guys for being so engaged, both in the chat while we're live and afterwards. Both of those really do help the channel, and I thank you for them. I don't always comment, but that one really annoyed me. Did you even pay attention? Motherfucker, we responded. And if you can tell me where I was wrong, by all means, please do so. But in that case, I wasn't wrong. And you need higher standards for Trump. What? He literally said what they said. And the fact check was, well, somebody else said something a little different that same day. Yeah, but did they say what he said they said? Did he say what they said they said? And yeah, he did. Absolutely. That tweet is out there. They fucking linked to it. Gamer Vleen, thank you. He comments religiously. I know. I have a few of those. Most of them come in the form of Twitter, though. It is interesting how many people comment on Twitter about this stuff, Jack.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's fun. But, Jack, we've been going 2.5 hours. Well, 2 hours and 21 minutes. I don't want to lie to my audience. I think I'm going to wrap up here. I've enjoyed this one, Jack. It's always better with Jack.
That's what I keep telling people. And they're like, why are you in our house?
I was going to suggest that as Lori Laughlin's punishment. It's always better with Jack.
True story.
There you go. But I agree with the audience. This show is always better when you're on.
Yay.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Well, actually, before we leave, Jack, did you guys do comic book curation?
Yes, we did on Polydub's channel. And it was a good episode where we talked about I talked about the T-1000 being replaced with a giant penis and testicles.
Oh, nice.
So I thought it was funny. I will throw the link in the chat if anybody wants to go watch it on Polly's channel.
Was that last night or tonight?
It was Wednesday night.
Wednesday night. Yeah, I try to always ask you, and I fail at it most of the time.
That's right. I forget too.
We're welcome to two forgetful people try to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming and hanging out. Thank you for the donations. You guys are very generous, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. We really are brought to you by you, and we appreciate everything you do for us. Jack, anything you would like to shill or say?
I will throw in the links to my latest videos. And as always, thank you for the donations. You guys are amazing.
Tonight we will be... Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's about all I got.
Tonight we will be on Scribe Lights channel, 9 p.m. Eastern time for Lords of the Night. Then we'll be over on 2 Cents Plus. We did not have a stream last night. Satsu was tired, so we did not have the unscheduled stream. That's a weird thing to say, Jack. We did not do the unscheduled stream. We will be doing the regular stream tonight, though. Somewhere around 11:15 over on 2 Cents Plus. That is the number 2 CENTSPLUS. Come and join us. It's always a lot of fun. Audience, thank you so much for coming and hanging out and for just everything you do. Jack, same to you. Thank you, bud, for hanging out with me and always making this a better show.
Always a good time.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful Friday. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
My dick is